I'm a two-company man. I joined Nestle as a management trainee back whenever it was, 20-something years ago, and landed in the commercial function. Spent times in sales, marketing, a little bit of time in Vevey, in the head office, but vast majority of the time was UK based. And then after about 10 years, I joined Guinness Great Britain, just before the merger that created Diageo.
What was that year? Because that was
1997.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so I joined in November, and Diageo was formed in December of 1997. I joined as a sales director in the UK, handling about a third of the business. And I worked in that role for 18 months before then going into a marketing role, from there into a global role, and a global commercial role. And then I moved to Asia. So I spent 10 years in Asia in total.
In KL?
No, I'd started as managing director of Diageo Philippines Incorporated, and I was there for 3 years. My last year I was also commercial director for Asia Pacific, because I didn't think I was quite busy enough. And then from there I went to Malaysia to become the managing director of a joint venture business with Heineken, which is also publicly listed. And I was there for best part of 7 years, 6.5 years in Malaysia, before being invited to come to Kenya and run EABL, which is a great honour for me.
No, and I'm looking forward to talking to you about it. Just a quick question. I mean, you know, everyone talks about the emergence of Asia and, you know, this tremendous growth we saw out there. Do you see any correlations between what you saw in Asia and Africa, or are they totally different beasts, would you say? Or what's your perspective in the short period you've been here compared to what you saw over that decade in Asia?
Yeah, so it's a great question. And I've got to say that having seen Asia and the development of Asia in the last 10 years, and I wasn't there right at the start of the development of Asia at all, but having seen the development of Asia over the last 10 years makes me incredibly hopeful for the development of Africa over the next 20 or 30 years. You know, having seen what's happened in Asia, I can look at Tanzania, Uganda, Kenya, South Sudan, you know, I can look at the region of East Africa and actually the wider continent and say there's 30 years of steady economic growth to be had out of this region, and it's lovely to be joining the business at this stage. I think, you know, we have seen lots of inflows of money into Africa as the quantitative easing around the world has created cash, and it's found a home in Africa. Not a surprise to me at all. I look at the demographics, I look at the way that the continent's set up, and there's a bright future.
So you very much think we're on a cusp of an expanding.
I do. I kind of look at the economies here in East Africa specifically, and more broadly across Africa. I think, you know, with one or two exceptions, we should be seeing unbroken growth for the next 10, 15, 20, 30 years even, and the transformation of the region will be incredible. I can remember going to Kuala Lumpur 10 years ago, and you know, that was a city of very few high rises. It had a very big twin towers.
Yes, that was the tallest building once.
Twin towers, but very few high rises. I go back now, and there's dozens of them. Same will happen in Nairobi, absolutely certain of it, and Kampala and Dar and Kigali. It will happen. If I look back over my career, I have been most successful when I've had great people around me, when I've had a fantastic management team, or I've been working in a team with superstars, and that kind of works, right? You can quite kind of understand it. So if I can kind of use a football analogy, you know, you could argue that Frank Lampard is the greatest midfielder.
You can tell you support Chelsea, right?
Whatever, right? So you know, I just pick a team randomly, but you could argue that Frank Lampard's the best midfielder in the last 15 years in the English Premier League. Unless he's got great teammates around him, he's never going to win matches on his own. You know, you put him out on the field on his own, against Manchester United or even Arsenal or maybe even Liverpool. He's probably not going to win the game 1 against 11. Having said that, you've got great team around him. He's going to do much better. 59 billion of turnover, 15 billion of profit, and 43 billion of tax contribution. You know, they're big numbers.
Yeah.
You know, EABL is a big business and very steady. So there were a couple of kind of one-offs which distort the numbers, but you look at the core of the business, it's a very steady business. Going forward, I want this business to be more exciting. I want the growth rate to be more in the exceptional bracket. I want to be repeating my last job. I think the CAGR was 13% profit, you know, over a 6-year period. We doubled profits and we tripled market capitalisation in my last job. I'd like to do that. You know, that would be nice, wouldn't it?
It would.
It would be nice.